Good morning, YouTube. This is Mallory George Page coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, I didn't use the Emperor Female Bodybuilding Talk moniker because this is not bodybuilding talk. It's just something for me as a kid. It's just going back to my childhood. One of my favorite things watching, especially on the weekends, especially after cartoons went off, was wrestling. I grew up in the South. I grew up with the era of like guys like Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA. I grew up with the old schools like NWA and AW, Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Then, got a little older, then start seeing like WWF, like Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Roddy Piper and them. They didn't come on as often because they came on maybe on regular network television every once in a while. But anyway, as a wrestling fan, as you know, today is the official retirement of one John Cena. Now, John Cena's been in the game for quite some time. He started out in the early 2000s. He kind of started at the tail end of the Attitude era of Stone Cold Steve Austin, of The Rock, of Triple H and DX and them, the era that I think I grew up with at good points because I grew up in both in the 80s and 90s. And John's been in the game for quite some time. I mean, been wrestling for a long time, been a multiple time world champion, also a Grand Slam champion just recently. He, defeated Rey Mysterio's son, Dominic Mysterio, for I think it was the U.S. title or something. Like I said, I don't really keep up with it much like I used to because I don't watch cable like that. He had a little heel turn when he, was with The Rock, and he beat up Cody Rhodes, and he, defeated Cody Rhodes for the W title. And that made him 17-time champion. He has broken the record that's set by Ric Flair. Ric Flair has been 6 times. He's been 17 times. And also, again, he's a Grand Slam champion, beating both U.S. champion, being Intercontinental champion, being, I think, also tag team champion. I mean, that's a Grand Slam. Even Heartbreak Kid has done that, too. He's been a Grand Slam champion. And John, he's moving on in his life, finding a new career outside of bodybuilding for the last few years. He's one of the few, bodybuilding wrestling. He's one of the few, he was a bodybuilder at one point in his career. He's one of the few professional wrestlers that really kind of transcend past wrestling, like Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Roddy Piper, a couple others, who have stepped away from the square circle and got into Hollywood. And that's a good thing for him. I mean, he's did a lot of stuff like with things helping out kids. He's a big fan of the Make-A-Wish Kids Foundation. I mean, again, I'm a fan of John Cena. And like I said, later this evening, Saturday, his last match will be against Gunther. Gunther is one of the W rising stars. I don't know much about the guy. Like I said, I don't follow wrestling like much. There's only a handful of guys who are still in WWE that I remember, like guys like Rey Mysterio, Sheamus, a couple others here and there. Because I know a while back, Rey Mysterio, Sheamus, and John had a match against Dom and 2 other dudes, and they beat him. Ray and his son Dom having this feud for long. It's played out because come on. Is it me that does Dom kind of look like Eddie Guerrero? It's just me. Yeah. I don't know if are there any relations to Guerrero, Eddie, and maybe there's different families like that. Maybe he married a cousin, that's why. But John had an amazing career. I mean, coming in here, I remember there was a kid. Actually, he's a friend of us. He's a son of a friend of mine. Like he's kind of like my nephew, I say. He was a big John Cena fan back in the day before he got into the hustle and loyalty thing. When he was in early his career, he used to wear the green shorts and stuff. Before he transformed into this, white boy rapper wrestler. And John has some flow. I mean, like Word to Life, that's one of my favorite ones. And the theme song, dun, 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 we hear that's from MOP, if you ever heard of that group. And also he just hits hard. I remember I saw a video, and if you can find it on YouTube, it's these 2 girls fighting, and it was in a school hall. And next you hear John Cena, and the security guy tackles both of them. That's funny, I mean, we hear that John Cena, John Cena. I mean, but not everybody can last forever, And John has a reputation. People see him as Superman, but here's the thing about Superman. Even though Superman's one of my favorite heroes, I got a poster of him right here in my room. You know, it's a big Superman poster. Love Superman. Next up there, between him and Batman, one of my two favorite all-time heroes. Superman, even though he was loved, he also was hated because he's so powerful, so strong. People hated, John Cena. Also, they loved him. At one point he was getting booed. But he still get out there and wrestle. Guys like Brock Lesnar, The Undertaker, Triple H, his feuds with so many other wrestlers over the career. I mean, he was loved and hated. And even though, Superman, he's just amazing hero. He's everything. He represents the American dream. Here he is. You got to think about it. This is a legitimate alien from another planet, comes here, grew up like any regular man, and he's more than that. But he doesn't think he's more than that. That's one thing about John Cena. Maybe just a fan in me. I mean, I can get into watch wrestling much like I used to. I might watch some here and there. Sometimes, like I said, I don't watch cable, but every now and then some networks or so, some wrestling on there, and I watch it. It's women's wrestling, but it's very entertaining. But John, I mean, brother, thank you. From a fan, you have done so much for, like the kid in me who grew up with the guys like Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, and the Macho Man, it's in The Rock and Stone Cold. In those eras of wrestling I grew up in, remember that. You have brought so much entertainment and great things to people. Children love you, men love you, women really love you. I mean, it wasn't that long he was in a relationship with one of the Bella sisters, and that didn't work out too long, but hey, And you know what? Doing what he's doing now with his new series, The Peacemaker, which is based on a DC character. It's not Superman, but it's a DC character. And, he's found his new career now. And you never know. He's stepped away from wrestling quite often to do movies and TV shows and still come back every now and then. Maybe not as an actor wrestler, but still great to see him every now and then. But so, as you know, this match is going to be later tonight. It's called Saturday Night Main Event. That's what we used to call it. Saturday Night Main Event used to come on the Saturday before pay-per-view. I remember as a kid because, we didn't have pay-per-view. We didn't have cable. So they used to show it on NBC, and preempt Saturday Night Live that Saturday evening, late Saturday evening, early Sunday morning, I might as well say, and show this, for about an hour or so. But John, you really have brought a lot to us who are fans of wrestling, who's sports entertainment. You've done so much. So, brother, good luck to your future. Thank you again. And, we can't see you anymore, but we always will remember you. Anyway, this is man over George Page, aka the Emperor of, sorry. This is just George Page, aka the Emperor of Wrestling Talk. Don't subscribe, don't subscribe. I'm out.